Ooh, let's do these. And I want to show you how fast and easy it is and how much faster it can be for you. If you don't have very much ephemera, maybe you've got just some of these, maybe a little tab, right? And some thread and needle. I think most everyone in this craft has book pages. Could use a postage stamp like I'm going to today, just to kind of change it up, and your scraps. Now, I want to recommend the thinner, more brittler paper because you're going to make it a little stronger with your strips and with your thread. But it's easier to get your needle through the paper. It just makes it a lot faster. Oh dear, this is going to be fun. Now, I only have one needle, right? Just the one. When I tell you I'm a poor crafter, I am not kidding. So if you have more than one needle, it's going to be better for you because you're going to be able to thread all kinds of needles instead of doing it one at a time with your different colored threads. This isn't even my thread. I had to borrow this thread from someone else because I only have neutral colors. And this is blue. And my little postage stamp is blue. Now, all last night, while my eyeballs couldn't see, I threaded this thing all day long. Have you seen that trick where they just roll the thread in between their fingers? Yeah, me too. My thread just keeps getting tangled. So, like it did there. I think I'm just jinxed. Like, where did my other end go? This is the most time-consuming part of the whole project right here. But once you get set up, like I said, with your different threads in the different colors, oh, okay, that worked. Then it's not going to be, your setup is the hardest part. Now, another way this is customizable is the thread extension. Like, how much thread do you want poking out? A little, a lot? But a whip stitch is the easiest of all sewing that you could possibly do. I'm not kidding. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Now, I like to start through the back of the paper. I'm sorry. We're going to poke through the front because this way your little holes back here are visible, but we're going to thread through back here. We're just going to keep our thumb right here. I think it's better if it's homemade, but if you want to, on the back, you could design it with your ruler on an evenly spaced, perfectly separated. Don't you love that when you're interrupted? We're just going to poke our hole in through the back, hold our finger here, and you don't have to do that. And then just whip it around. Poke a hole so you can see it on the back. Hold and pull. Now it's better if your desk is clear so your thread doesn't get hung up. But look at how easy this is. I am not one for sewing, But I like that this is paper, and I like how that it doesn't require much in the way of decoration. It's a cheap craft, and it's very calming. And I'm doing the ripped edges, but you don't have to. I love the look of a ripped edge. But this is certainly going to be a design choice of whether you want to do it on the flat edge or the ripped edge. But see, this is going pretty quickly. Put your favorite video on. Don't worry about that. It's supposed to look homemade because it is homemade. There's a lot of that in this craft, which is one of the reasons why I like it. And I'm using double thread because my thread is so very thin, and I want to be able to see it. But you don't have to. You can use single thread if you don't have that much of it and you're like me. Your supplies are kind of limited, shall we say. Then you just use single. Oh, okay. Well, let's see what happened there. Ooh. Oh, we did tear our page a little bit. That's going to be okay. We're just going to pull it back maybe. Little glue will fix that. Good. I mean, I promise you, all 3 of those that I did last night, I had no issue with. I was like, oh, I'll get on a video when my light's good and show the people how quick and easy this can be. But I'm glad you're kind of seeing the mess ups, so you don't get frustrated. Be like, why isn't it as easy for me as it was for her? Well, see what I mean about the holes going through? More brittle paper will be easier. And it's a way to use up. Like, I have been clearing out my craft stash and using up the things I have, getting rid of the things that I haven't used. If I haven't used them in 6 months, I'm not gonna use them. And so we have been getting rid of a lot. We tried to do Happy Mail, no takers. So that was sad. I was like, all right. Maybe we're just not reaching the poor people, or the people who want to do this craft, or people who just want to receive Happy Mail. So we tried not to take it personally, but I mean, I would have leapt at the chance to receive free stuff. No strings attached, no paperwork to fill out. Just send an email with your address to another crafter, and there you go. You're receiving some Happy Mail in 2 to 4 business days. I say that, but if you're dealing with a bank, it's more like 13 business days. And then they'll claim to receive the paperwork. We finally got that straightened out just today, from January the 29th. That was most trying. It really was. But it's worked out now. Thank God. And we can finally get new deodorant. We were running out. We were running low. Our phone's auto payment got shut off. They're like, yeah. Our car insurance is due, but we couldn't do anything with that negative balance in our bank. The banks giveth and the banks taketh away. And then they giveth back, but in their own sweet time. And you know, the saddest part is that, you know, I'm not a multimillionaire. It's not tens of thousands of dollars in the bank. It's nothing that they could have made a bunch of interest on. You know what I mean? By keeping that money. Oh, but they did. This blue is going to look so good. It's the first time I've been able to use a color. And I recommend you get kind of crazy with your colors. If you've got like that embroidery floss that's different colors, that would be pretty. But I bought all neutral so that I could play with most everything. But after a while, your eyeballs get kind of tired of neutral. Mine did. They were like, ugh, I'm sick of the neutral. I want some color. You could go all the way around. Well, that's a little. If you don't get your thread too long, it won't be more likely to tangle up. And if your thread is waxed, but I can't be rethreading in the middle of a project. I really just hate that. I really do. So that's why I also recommend thread all your needles. Have like 6 or 7 ready to go. Even if you're only doing one color. That way you can just begin again with your project. You don't have to stop. Now, of course, if it doesn't bother you, then you can just laugh at the rest of us. We won't be offended. We're used to it. Oh, no, go this side. Well, that is unfortunate. Anytime you're recording on your phone and you get messages, your timer goes off. So does your video. It's a bit frustrating when you're new to filming. I don't have everything, all the kinks are not worked out yet. Which is why I am grateful that you're even watching this. Like, how did I get subscribers? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just following tutorials of other people. But, you know, the more tutorials that I've watched, the more I've come to realize that that's exactly what my favorite creators are doing too. They're always crediting the people that they got their inspiration from, which is what I like to do. But they're just reworking the same tutorial that their favorite people did. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. For me personally, I don't know if I would feel good about that, but that's all we're doing. Now to the end, I like to wrap back around, and then this is the part where I mean about personal preference. You can finish this on this side like we did down here. Look at that. Wax your thread. I don't have any wax. I think I've got one candle that we could get some wax out of. Or you can finish it on this side. And finishing it is just running it back through this thread and tying a little knot at the end. Boom. Leave that as little or as long as you like. And there we have it. How long did that take, you think? 15 minutes? I was going to try and time us. All right, let's find something blue because we're going to have to rethread, or let's do a single one because we've got a lot left. Let's see how a single one looks. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to like it. But we won't know until we see. Let's try and get this knot as close down as we can. Oh yeah, the double thread really helps bulk up that needle so it won't slide through the hole. But if it starts doing that nonsense, we'll just put a little piece of tape back there. And let's look for something blue. Shorter thread. Let's try and use one of these little short ones. Yeah, we'll try and do that. We'll get a whole page on there. And oh yeah, that's pretty. We'll look for some more blue. Oh, that's purple. Purple again. I mean, these are kind of ugly, so I want to use up the not pretty ones. Stamps are certainly polarizing. Captain James Cook, Alaska, 1778. I mean, what do I know about that? Hardly anything. Ugh, we're also running out of our glue. How apt. What do the French say? Apt pro, something like that. So this paper is so thin, and this one side is so particularly sticky that I can actually use glue stick to secure it. Both of these are super thin. Nope. No bubbling. Dries pretty quick. This is the glue we're running out of. Oh, do we want to? Of course we want to ink it. Now, I've not been inking these except for the stamps. Let's just clean that up a bit. Yeah. If you already have your designs ready to go, like your little book edges done, then this is not a part of your step. Preparation is the key. But we want this to stand out a little, so we're going to ink just the stamp. If there is one thing that I love, it is absolutely ink. Is this straight? No. There we go. That's straight enough. Is it? Straight enough. It's straight enough. And you don't have to wait for this to dry before you start sewing. Again, that's what I like the glue stick for. All right, let's see how the one does. We're starting on the front, so it ends in the back. That hole is too big. It's gonna pop right through. Oh, look at that. I surprised myself. But look, why don't we just get started real quick? We're gonna make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Just gonna hang out right there. Little medical tape on the project. Now it's not going anywhere for sure. And start again. Yeah, the holes are bigger than my thread. But it is what it is. So this is what we're working with. We don't ever have to use this one. We don't. We can call it our practice one. Just keep it in our stash until we're desperate and we need a reference for the next mass make. We'll be like, oh yeah, we're running low on this. It's not terrible. It's not my favorite, but it's not terrible. And if you ever get towards the end and you see that you're running out of thread and you really don't want to rethread for that next one, like you're up here and your needle is running low, just start spacing them out a little bit further. That's what I did on one of these. I can't remember which one. And then we can always go back in with a different color thread. If we have a short little thread and we don't want to we are so frugal that we have to think about using these things. If we have half of a bookmark here with some different colored thread, we'll just use the pre-existing holes and go right back through it. And then that way it can bulk up some of these holes. See what I mean? This is not taking that long at all, especially not with having to rethread it. And it's a lovely little craft that you can do while you're watching other creators. My watch list and save later videos are getting kind of long. When they get about 10 to 15 long, I stop and I go in and I attempt to do the crafts. Some of them I'm like, oh, we need to wait for supplies. So they've been on there for a couple of years. But at the beginning of the year, I got to, well, I should say last year for my birthday, after I got my inks and things, I was able to go in and watch a few videos and clear out my cache and do the crafts that I had been wanting to try. no. Well, I'm glad it happened on camera instead of off. All is not always smooth sailing. And so what does our crafting tell us to do? Pretend like we made it anyway. Sometimes you can just pull those right on out, but if not, we were just going to go with it. We were just going to have a messy thread at the end. Give it a little texture, which we might do anyway, because this is so thin. I'll show you what I mean. We're just going to bunch up the thread because we're certainly not going to use our single thread anymore for other projects. If we're going to take the time to do this, we want it to look right. But I'm glad I got to do this for you here, and then that way you can see what you want to do. Single thread, you might like it. You might be like, yeah, that's just enough for me. Then again, you're like, nope, I like the double thread. So you'll know without experimenting. We're all crafters experimenting, learning from each other, and then taking the time to share with other people. That's one of the things that drew me to this community, was the fact that people are crediting where they learned from, and no one gets offended by that. They're not gatekeeping and hoarding the, oh no, you can't use this. I did this. You know what I mean? There's none of that bickering. All right, so I'm glad that happened. You can see what we mean now by just bunching up this thread. Stick a wad of glue on there and call it a day. Yeah. Now, I should have started this out at the bottom, so that way, you know, you'd have some sort of look at the bottom, like see this blank space, that would be perfect down here, and this isn't so bunched up, but we can't predict when our accidents are going to happen. We're just going to call this a day. All right, how many can you do in 30 minutes? These were done last night. They don't count, but we got 2 done while this video was running with the wreath threading and all. On to the next one.